These ones here, right? Now, what remember inequalities is the following, right? If I have a fraction like 6 over 3, 6 over 3 is the number 2. 6 over 3 is bigger than the number 1. We all agree with that. Now, if I change this to 6 over minus 3, 6 over minus 3 is the number minus 2. Minus 2 is smaller than 1. We agree with that. Now the problem is, when I cross multiply up a negative number, it becomes 6 on one side, minus 3 on the other side. And what I have to realise is that when I do that, 6 is no longer smaller than minus 3, and I reverse the sign. The problem with this question here is, x minus 1, when I cross multiply that, that could either be positive or negative. I don't know which one it is. So I don't know whether to change the sign or not. That's the problem with this type of question. Now to eliminate this problem, what I always do, when I see a fraction with an x or a variable on the bottom, what I mean by a variable is any letter that can change its value. Okay, when I see a question like this, I'll always go to the denominator, and whatever that denominator is, I'll square it and multiply both sides by it. Always. Okay, now what this does is, because I'm multiplying both sides by a square, squares are guaranteed to be a positive number. They're guaranteed to be a positive number. Okay, so for instance, if I have 3 is greater than 2, and I multiply both sides by any positive number I want, let's say number 2, 6 is greater than 4. If I multiply by 3, 9 is greater than 6. It doesn't affect the direction of the inequality. That's why I do it this way. Okay, now that I have this done, what we're going to do next is we're going to just simply multiply them out. Now the x minus 1 cancels with this one here, and the x minus 1 squared is what we have to do here. So we're going to have 3 times x minus 1 squared. X minus 1 squared is x squared minus 2x plus 1. It's me multiplying x minus 1 by x minus 1. That's what I multiply to get that. It's all over 2, and that equals, on the other side, I'm going to multiply x minus 2 by x minus 1. When I multiply that out, I'm going to get x squared minus 3x plus 2. Now, because I know the number 2 is guaranteed to be positive, I can now cross multiply up the number 2 without worrying about the signs. This will become 2x squared minus 6x plus 4. This is going to be greater than 3x squared minus 6 plus 3. Okay, now that that's done, what I'm going to do is move everything over to one side. The side I'm going to choose is the side that keeps the x squared positive. So I'm going to say 0 is greater than 3x squared minus 2x squared minus 6. Actually, the minus 6x is cancelled, don't they? Okay. They do. It's minus 6x on both sides, so they do cancel. Bring out a 4, and it becomes plus 3 minus 4. Now I have 0. 0 is greater than x squared minus 1. When I say 5 is greater than 4, it's the same thing as saying 4 is less than 5. You notice I didn't have to change the signs to make that statement, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just switch this around. So I'm going to get x squared minus 1 is less than 0. Now, we all know this is the difference of 2 squares, or at least I think we would. And we're going to get x plus 1, x minus 1 less than 0. And then what you have to figure out next is what are the values I'm actually looking for here. Okay? So this isn't as simple as saying, x equals minus 1 and x equals 1. It's not an equals question, it's an inequality question. And if you remember from when we did the inequality questions, what type of U-shaped or N-shaped? U-shaped. It's U-shaped because it has a positive x squared. So it goes down and down. This here is minus 1. This here is plus 1. We want these numbers to be smaller than 0. Is it bigger than 0 right now?
No.
Is the y value bigger than 0? This means the y value, okay? So this means I want the y value to be smaller than 0. Okay? Because the graph I just drew, is x squared minus 1. Okay, that's what the graph would look like if I was to draw it, okay? All quadratic equations are either U-shaped or N-shaped. Okay? To draw these, all I need to know is two things. I need to know where it hits the axis, which is minus 1 and 1. That's why I knew to put 1 on the left and 1 on the right. I knew it was U-shaped because it says x squared. So all I have to do is just draw it down. And I go bigger than 0, bigger than 0, bigger than 0, equals 0. Smaller than 0, smaller than 0, smaller than 0, smaller than 0, equals 0. Bigger than 0, bigger than 0. So basically I'm looking for this space in here. I'm looking for all the x values in between minus 1 and 1. So how do I write that down? X is greater than minus 1, but x has to be smaller than 1. I could also spin it around and make it look like this. That'd be another answer. And then eventually I could flip and make the answer look something like this. Okay? So our guys are presenting the same answer. Okay? Now, you can also do something to make sure you're right. What would be the easiest number to test between minus 1 and 1? 0. 1 isn't in between them. If it was less than or equal, 1 would count. But it doesn't count. So 0 would be the best number to choose. Why not, at the start of the question, why don't I replace everything here with zeros and see if it works? Is minus 2 over minus 1 bigger than 3 over 2? It is. Minus 2 divided by minus 1? 2. Is 2 bigger than 1.5? That's another way of checking your answer. Pick any number that is your answer and put it back into the original equation. If the original equation doesn't work with this number, it means you've made a mistake. Is that right? Alright guys, next question. Now, the next couple of questions in this chapter, they're random and temperamental, okay? But what you always have to remember to do is just do what it's asking you to do, and then you can figure it out. So look, it's saying f of x is equal to this thing. Find the value of a. And I'm going, that's random. I don't really know what they're talking about there. But I do know he had an f of x formula up here. So maybe if I play around with this a little, it will turn into that. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay? So I'm going to have x squared plus 4 on top. Difference of two squares, right? 4 is the same as? Anybody? 2 squared. Okay? So that will make the bottom x plus 2, x minus 2. Okay? And then on the top I'll have minus x times x plus 2. Now, remember how we did this last time? Are they the same fraction? Do they have the same denominator? How do we change it into the same denominator? X minus 2, x minus 2. Are they the same denominator now? And all I have to do is add in a multiplication top and bottom. Now let's see what happens next, okay? Not at the moment. It's just what x is equal to. So this is what f of x is equal to. There's remember, all I've done is played around the f of x formula. There is no equal to 0 yet. Okay. There he goes. Here I am. Okay. F of x equals this formula here. Now let's add them together, okay? We have one common fraction, don't we? So one big line, x plus 2, x minus 2. Now, let's multiply this out. X squared plus 4 on one side. Now, minus x squared into minus x squared into what's that? minus x squared plus 2. Okay. Now, what we're going to get here is x squared. No x squared on top, but there is a 6 on top. Now there's a problem here. The problem is it doesn't fit what I'm asked to do, doesn't it? I meant to just have an x and a number at the end. Okay? Yeah.
Why is it not plus 2x through there?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Sorry, you're right. You're right. Thanks, Sean. Plus 2x. Now, that's perfect now, okay? Because it actually solves my problem. What I'm going to get here now is this. I'm going to get a 2x plus 4 on top and x plus 2, x minus 2 on the bottom. I know the problem with this because I'm only meant to have one bracket on the bottom. One of these brackets got to go. It's not the minus bracket because it says x minus a. It's going to be more than likely the plus bracket. How do I get rid of that x plus 2? Can anybody tell me? What can you do at the top if you factorize it? 2 into? And then on the bottom? x2, x minus 2. Cancel the difference. And we end up with 2 over x minus 2. That's our answer. Okay? Now that that's done, it goes find the root of x for which f of x is less than 1. What is that basically asking me to do? It basically wants me to figure out 2 divided by x minus 2 less than 1. That's all it wants me to figure out. How do I do that? Can anybody tell me? What's that to multiply the top and bottom by?
X minus 2 squared.
X minus 2 squared, okay? Less than 1 bracket x minus 2 squared. The left hand side is going to be x squared minus 4x plus 4. The right hand side will have that one cancel with this one, and it'll give me 2x minus 4. Bring everything over to one side. Now, once again, you're being wise with your time, so just write down in red minus 2x on one side and then plus 4 underneath that, and then just add them on. So we're going to get 0 less than x squared minus 6x plus 8. Spin that around. X squared minus 6x plus 8 greater than 0. What type of graph is that? It's a U-shaped. What's my two answers if I was to do it normally? Can anybody tell me? Minus 4 minus x equals 4 and x equals? Both of these are on which side of the axis? The right side, okay? So what we're going to have to get is this, okay? Just on the right side, it's going to put twice, okay? And what we're going to get is x equals 2, x equals 4. And we want it to be bigger than 0, don't we? So it's not in between this time, it's to both. It's to both sides, okay? Because we don't want it smaller than 0, we want it to be bigger than 0. X is less than 2 and x is bigger than 4.